Our next speaker is His Excellency Riad Salame. His Excellency Riad Salame has been the governor of Banque du Liban, Lebanon's central bank, since August 1, 1993. He was reappointed 3 times for a 6-year term of office in 1999, 2005, and 2011. Governor Salame manages all aspects of the central bank. Mr. Salame is the governor for Lebanon at the International Monetary Fund and the Arab Monetary Fund. In 2012, he chaired the IMF and World Bank Board of Governors held in Tokyo. Between 1973 and 1993, Governor Salame had an extensive career at Merrill Lynch, Beirut, and Paris offices that led to his designation from 1985 through 1993 as Vice President and Financial Advisor, a position that he occupied till his appointment as Banque du Liban governor. His tremendous efforts as governor have been widely appreciated, and as a Lebanese, I must admit, he's one of my role models. In November 2012, he participated in the opening of the London Stock Exchange on the occasion of Lebanon Capital Markets Day, an event that gives an update on developments in Lebanon's economy. He has also received numerous awards, and in March 2009 was the first Arab central bank governor to ring the New York Exchange opening bell. Please join me in welcoming Son Excellency Riad Salame on stage.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by expressing my honor to be among you today. I would like also to explain a little bit the functions and the responsibilities of Banque du Liban and of the governor of the central bank. As you know, the crisis of 2008 had been caused in one of the causes of this crisis was the lack of coordination between the various supervisory bodies in any economy. So you would see that in the United States, the Federal Reserve Board would not really know exactly what is happening with the SEC, for instance. In Great Britain, you had a split between the Bank of England and the FSA. So we have engineered a system in Lebanon where the central bank is in fact supervising all the regulatory bodies. And therefore, the governor of the central bank is heading not only the central bank, but also the capital markets, and he is heading also the court that rules for putting sanctions on banks, and it's heading also the Special Investigation Commission to fight money laundering. This is an approach that we believe will protect the system from big crises. Lebanon is living through various events that are causing a challenge for stability, for economic growth, and the central bank has to act in unconventional ways in order to create stability, confidence, and growth. Presently, as you know, the country could not gather its efforts, and the political parties in Lebanon were not able to agree on the election of a president. That vacuum in the presidency is not happening for the first time in Lebanon. It has happened before President Salame was elected, and we had a vacuum for 7 months. But this vacuum is coming after a long crisis on the government level, it took us 10 months to constitute a government. And it is also coming after a crisis in the parliament, where the parliament was not able to meet regularly, and we were not able to have parliamentary elections, so the parliament extended for itself its mandate. Therefore, we have to work at the central bank in a political climate that is not really stable, and what is happening today has happened previously, and in my tenure of 20 years, we have seen many situations similar to the one we are living. We have seen also situations where security issues were at stake. We had wars, we had political assassinations, we had street fights. The other challenges we have in order to maintain our monetary policy and respect the targets we have put for it is the Syrian crisis, where what is happening in Syria has negatively affected Lebanon. It affected negatively our country economically, socially, and politically because of the sharp divisions it created in Lebanon between those who are with the Syrian regime and those who are against. Economically, because we have more than 1 million refugees that came to Lebanon and that are costing us $1 billion a year, as it has been estimated by the World Bank. And socially, because there was no organization to receive these refugees, and therefore they are spread all over the country. And today, many of them are doing unlawful things, and 35% of the jailed people in Lebanon are Syrians. The economic growth, because of the Syria war, declined. We are growing at the rate of 2 to 2.5%. Before the Syrian crisis, the rate of growth of Lebanon was at an average of 8%. This has put more pressure on the debt to GDP ratio, but also it has put pressure on the ability of the government to develop and reinforce the infrastructure of the country. The social reactions today, we have claims from the people working in the public sector that are claiming for higher salaries. This also is a concern for us, because not only because of the budget issue, but because also it is putting a burden on the competitiveness of the economy of Lebanon. Despite all these, we have managed to keep stability in the Lebanese pound, which we consider as being an anchor of confidence. We have been able to do that because we have been strengthening our foreign exchange reserves. We have been also introducing many engineerings that would bring to the central bank foreign currencies. And Lebanon today is a country that can fund its private and public sector without the help of the IMF. And that is important because, as you know, around us, most of the Arab countries who lived instability have asked for the assistance of the International Monetary Fund. The stability and the confidence are linked also to the banking sector. We have developed a conservative model whereby banks have to comply with the Basel III criteria. In fact, we did put a lot of regulations that were taken by Basel III in terms of solvency and in terms of liquidity, and therefore the banks did not find difficulties to comply with these criteria. Nevertheless, we have asked as a central bank for higher ratios than the one suggested by Basel III, because we believe that the banks in Lebanon, in order to keep a sound relation with international banks, have to show strong balance sheets. We have separated the investment banks from the commercial banks, and this has been the case since the 90s and has spared Lebanon to be involved in the crisis of 2008. This separation protects, in fact, the savings of those who are depositing at the commercial banks. We have also required capital requirements when loans were to be granted for real estate and or for buying shares. As you know, most of the banks, when they have problems, these problems come from their loans to the real estate market. So in Lebanon, we have required that for real estate promoters, we do not accept that they get loans that are more than 60% of the value of a project. We have also put discipline and in the derivative market and in the off-balance sheet operations involving the capital of banks. That has helped. In 2004, we prohibited banks from buying subprime, and therefore they didn't have this toxic asset in their balance sheet when the crisis happened in 2008. As you know, Lebanon is also complying with the international norms, especially for fighting money laundering. We had, like many countries, we had banks who were exposed to accusations, but because of the seriousness in which we have worked, we were able to overcome all these issues. And today, Lebanon is not facing any problem, or any bank in Lebanon do not have any problem related to these issues. The central bank also reinforced confidence by taking initiatives that has helped the growth in the economy. These initiatives are related to encouraging credit to the housing sector, encouraging credit to new projects, to energy-saving projects, and also to environmental protection projects. They have helped improve the quality of living of the Lebanese, but also they were major components that help Lebanon keep a positive growth during the difficult years of the wars in the Middle East. The latest initiative that we have introduced is to allow banks to enter the capital of start-up companies and companies that are involved in the economy of knowledge. Lebanon has talents, has rich human resources, and can develop a sector that will help the growth, the job market, but also will improve on our competitiveness because of the introduction of new technologies. So we are guaranteeing 75% of the funds that banks will invest in this type of operations. It's a new project, but we can feel now that there is interest in this project. The synergies between all these actions have reinforced confidence. And by doing that, we have been able to maintain continuous flows into the Lebanese banks. Remittances coming from abroad do represent around 20% of the GDP of Lebanon. It has been the case for historically. But today, because of this confidence, we are seeing that in 2013, $8 billion in remittances were sent to Lebanon. This is helpful because it covers our needs for imports, and these are funds that are helping the growth in the banking sector and the ability of the banking sector to lend money to the private and to the public sector. Finally, Lebanon, as you know, is the country that has prospects in the fields of gas and oil. And for Lebanon, that is going to create a big change once this materializes. Of course, we are not betting in our strategies today on future income that could be realized in 7 or 8 years. And that's why we remained very strict in our policies, and in order to avoid negative experiences like other countries in the area had, although they have the same prospects. But for Lebanon, once this happens, it is going to create an important income that was not existing before, because Lebanon was relying in its economic activities only on traditional sectors and on the efforts of the Lebanese. So although we have a high debt, it's around 140% of GDP, although the deficits are also high compared to GDP, they are running around 11%. We have the ability to manage and extend the maturity of the Lebanese debt in a way that once this income from oil and gas becomes real, it will help the country improve its public finances, but also develop its infrastructure and also create more social welfare. I would like to thank you, and I'm ready to take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Governor, for your speech. You referred to the Syrian refugees in Lebanon, who are obviously a big burden. I think you said $1 billion a year. To what extent are you getting financial support from the international community and foreign governments, as well as through charities, to help that burden?
The $1 billion is a direct cost on the Lebanese government, because the Syrian refugees are using the infrastructure and the services of Lebanon: electricity, schools, hospitals. The Lebanese government has asked for help, and 2 meetings were held, one in New York and one in Paris recently, in order to encourage donors to contribute to help the Lebanese government. And a fund was created in association with the World Bank. Nevertheless, there was no real funds given to Lebanon up till now. The assistance we are seeing is not coming to the Lebanese government. It is through the United Nations and the European Union and certain NGOs, but this goes directly to the refugees for their daily expenditure. So far, we are carrying all this cost alone, while the situation is not so easy in Lebanon. And the number of refugees we have represent more than 20% of the population of Lebanon. But the Lebanese have to live with that and hope for international assistance, to live with it because for humanitarian reasons, and hope for assistance because it's a real burden on our budget.
Governor Salame, you mentioned the presidential vacuum. Is that a vacuum that you yourself could fill?
I didn't hear you.
Regarding the presidential vacuum, is it a vacuum that you yourself could fill?
I don't know, but for the time being, I am concentrating on my activity as a governor, and we will see what will happen next.
You touch on the oil and gas sector. Don't you think we are already late as a government or the ministry, especially when we compare to the other neighboring countries? And by the time we start, all our neighboring countries, including Israel, Cyprus, Syria, will be producing or already producing oil and gas?
We have this frustration. There are 2 major reasons for the delay. The first one, it took Lebanon quite a time to determine the territory in the sea where it could dig, and we needed international intervention for that because of obviously the border issues with Israel, but also with other countries. The second point is, as I mentioned, the political instability that had created delays in forming governments. The sharp divisions we have, fueled also by the Syrian crisis, have delayed government decisions. Now they hope that in August something could be done, but again, as we don't have a president, I don't know if the government who constitutionally now is assuming the power of the president would really do a major initiative such as the one related to oil and gas.
There's been some proposals in Lebanon about increasing the tax rate on banks. Have you got any thoughts on that, how dangerous it might be, whether you're for or against it?
The tax rate on banks in Lebanon?
Yeah.
We have studied that issue. In fact, it will not really hurt the banking sector. It will have an impact of $250 million on the profits of the banks. But they have flexibility to cope up with this tax because effectively it represents less than 1/4% of the interest on deposits. So the issue of the taxation is not threatening the banking sector. And banks have to contribute in case there is a new salary grid approved by the parliament. They have to contribute like other sectors because the expenditure that would come from the increase in salaries cannot be funded but by taxation due to the existing deficit in the Lebanese budget and to the fact that the central bank is not going to print money in order to fund this grid. Thank you.